Yo, yo,
Yeah,
yo.
yeah. Good morning, sir.
You can hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm outside, man, because trying to escape the little one. But I'm sure she's oh man.
But you
Speaking
know she's gonna come out. You know she's gonna come out and find you anyway.
Do you hear it? Did you hear that?
No, what? What she said?
Can you hear that? You-
No, no.
okay, yeah. She's yelling. She's calling me. She's calling for me. I'm downstairs. Just I'll be right up, okay? You made a heart? Okay, I'll come up and check it out in a few minutes. Just give me a second. In 5 minutes.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. I love that. The
Oh
grass is
man.
always greener on the other side, man.
Man,
The
yo,
grass
man,
is
I
always
can't
greener
even go to
on
the
the other
toilet,
side.
dude. I just want to like take a shit in peace and wipe my ass. I can't do that. Yeah. It's like, can you get out of here? It's gonna be stinky. Get out.
But like I said, the grass is always greener on the other side, man. Yesterday at work, I was talking to one of my brethren at work, right? And he's married, white guy from Canada. He's about our age, has two kids, married to a Japanese wife. And he was complaining that his wife is always trying to one up him in terms of suffering. Like, no matter what he says, if he comes home and he says, I had a bad day, I had a bad day, she says, oh, you had a bad day. Let me tell you about my day. If he says, I'm not feeling so well, she says, you're not feeling so well. Well, let me tell you about how sick I am. And he has these two children with her, but he's together with her. They are together as a family, and these are the trials and tribulations. And me and my wife right now, we're separated. And I'm deep in my feelings about, oh, Trevor, you should do what you can to try to fix things, although my wife isn't trying to hear it. She wants to stay separated. And I'm deep in my feelings about, man, I wish I could be with my wife and son. But this guy is saying to me, Trevor, you don't know how good you have it. You have peace. You have time to
I don't
yourself. You
think
don't
he's
have
right. I don't think he's right. I don't think he's right. I think he's very, very wrong. Because I think his priorities and your priorities are different. Because your priorities, I know you, man. I've known you for like 10, 15 years now. And dude, we were like, if we didn't come out of the same womb, but we were like almost identical twins. Your
yeah,
priorities are similar to mine. The fact that you got the hell up out of America just for your child, to
yeah,
bring your
man.
child here and raise your child here, and then to
Yeah,
come
man.
here and to be like separated from the mother, right? Creating this dysfunctional environment. Dude, the original plan was to come here for your child, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
half of the equation is totally screwed up now that you're
Yeah,
separated. So I think that
exactly.
his perspective is like he's not thinking about his kid. He's not thinking
Yeah,
about like he didn't come here. He didn't make these big ass expensive moves and sacrifices
right,
for his child. So I'm saying
right,
to you that you shouldn't make the sacrifice for your child and then come over here and then give up on that. You need to like rope in your wife and say, yo, man, we did this for this child. And the ideal situation, or not even the ideal, the most beneficial situation for this child is for him to have both his parents hanging out with him all the time. That's why we came here.
I couldn't agree more, man. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. But with that said, as I've told you in, offline conversations, brethren, I'm just doing my best to bide my time and I don't know,
Oh, you
pick
can't
up
do
the
that,
pieces
Trev. You
of
can't do that, man. You can't do that. You can't do that. You have to. You're gonna have to go in. It's gonna get dirty. You're gonna have to like try to convince her it's not about me or you. It's not about her or you. It's about this child that she said she wanted to have when she was freaking 37 years old, and you know, got up. Y'all got your old asses off out of Atlanta and came to Japan. So you can't be like coming over here. You can't. You can't. Japanese say chuto hampai. You can't do it half-ass. Can't, if you wanted
So
to do that, you would have stayed in Atlanta.
what do you say about what do you say about those people who say staying together for the sake of the child is not the best
That's
move?
bullshit. That's total bullshit because a lot of cultures have child-centered marriages. The whole in love thing, it's like a Western thing, right? But if you have a child-centered marriage, then you begin, if you everything is focused on the child, it's like, yo, man, I don't like you, but the reason I'm here is because I'm out because of the child. You will inadvertently become a good person because if you know that if you create a toxic environment, right, then that's going to affect the child. So then you're like, you know what, I'm gonna get along with you because if I don't get along with you, it's gonna mess up the kid. So I'm not going to argue about this thing right now because it's going to turn into like a big old massive blowout. And then that's not going to be beneficial for the kid. That's how I do. But then I went to therapy to learn to do that shit. I went to therapy to learn positive sentiment override, right? So when stuff starts boiling over, I like to keep the focus on the kid. And I go, okay, yeah. All right. So that's not going to be in the best interest of the kid for me to answer that the way I want to answer it.
So I didn't mean, I'm sure we didn't mean to turn this into an advice session, but what would you say? My wife has an emotionally avoidant personality.
Yeah.
Anytime I try to bring up something, serious, deep, about our relationship, she immediately pulls back, and I can see her kind of frost over. Like, I don't want to talk about this, leave this alone. And I don't want to push her, brethren. I don't want to push her. Because pushing her is exactly that, just pushing her away. I don't want to do that. But I want to make it clear to her that exactly what you're saying. I came to Japan for us to be together with this little boy and raise him together as a family. And that's why I'm here. I'm not in love with Japan, brethren. I
Yeah,
don't hate it,
me neither.
but I'm not in love with it. I can take it or leave it. I'm an American. I can go back to my country. I'm fine in America, but I came here and sacrificed my life in America to be here with my wife and my son. And now she has us separated, and she has it in her mind we're going to stay separated. And let me just give you a tiny bit of background. The reason is because of my mouth, man. My mouth, my temper, my anger issues, she's when she doesn't do what I want, give me what I want, I get angry and I fly off at the mouth and talk one holy pakos. And she doesn't like it. And of course she doesn't like it. And now she has a baby and she's thinking, this nigga's toxic. This dude, if he gets angry, I can't trust this guy to be around me and my son if he gets angry. Let me take my son to a safe place. And she's now with her family. And fortunately, I'm close in terms of physical proximity, but she keeps me at a distance. But I keep trying to do little by little, let her know, yo, I'm here. I want to be in your life. I want us to be together. And brethren, I'm not going to lie, I still love my wife. What would you say is the best course of action dealing with an avoidant, emotionally, unresponsive, unavailable woman who is Japanese to try to let her know, hey man, give me another chance? What would you say I do?
I would go all in about the kid. And I would start with apologizing. I would start with just telling her, look, yo, I'm sorry. I go off the handle. I fly off the handle a lot. But you know what? I'm gonna try to change therapy. There's therapy on Zoom. There's, therapy is not that big in Japan because they're kind of primitive when it comes to like, mental health in this country. But you can have therapy on Zoom from the US, right? But I would go in like I'd make the focus 2 billion% the kid. This child, talk, I don't know, talk data to her. We did this for this kid. We came all the way over here for this kid. And now for this to happen, this is a really important part of the dynamics, right? The kid needs a father. Daddy need, or you're gonna end up like Japanese fathers. They're never home. Because in Japan, I think, Japan is like in essence a single parent society.
Yes, it is.
Chichi oya fuzai. That's their big problem. That's why Japanese babies are so shy. Japanese kids are so shy. Japanese people are so shy because they have no fathers en masse, right?
Interesting.
Yeah. So I read that in you remember this writer Shoko, whatever her name is. She writes for the Japan Times.
Okay.
I think we're mutual friends on Facebook. Shoko
Shoko, not Kaori. Shoko.
Kaori. I think it's
Oh
Kaori.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Kaori
Kaori.
is. I'm good friends with Kaori.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I read an article she wrote in the Japan Times about Chichuya Fuzai and what causes like the chronic shyness in Japan, in Japanese culture.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and how it
I
relates.
need to I need to hit her up and ask her to send me that article.
Yeah, and
Wow.
how it relates to aichaku. Why am I forgetting the English term? Attachment theory, aichaku. Attachment theory and the paternal absenteeism that's like rampant in Japan. And you're gonna contribute to that, dude. Your kid is gonna become like that. Because you mean you're gonna have to explain to her the need that this how this kid needs his dad. And you're gonna have to also be like because he's getting a lot of input, cultural input from Japan. You're gonna need
Yes.
to bring in the Jamaica/American input that he's
Yes.
gonna need because his identity is just gonna get like screwed up. So if he's
Yeah.
like seeing you
Yeah.
like 2 hours a week and shit, that's just not gonna work. You're gonna have a Japanese child on your hand. You're gonna have a
Right.
diffident, no confidence, just friggin' shy, no unassertive Japanese boy on your hand, right?
Right. Right. And listen, it isn't as if to say, well, listen, let's be honest. You and I being, Jamaican American, you can't be shy, unassertive, afraid, wimpy,
Oh,
looking down at the ground,
oh, oh.
unconfident. You can't, you
Brethren,
can't be that.
no, I will shoot my picnic. No,
Right.
no, no, no. That's not our culture. No, Baba. It can't
Mm,
work like that at all. I
mm,
see them
mm.
every day. I mean, I teach them. I'm like, dude, if my child was like that, I would just massacre her.
Right. Right.
No. And you are the important element that's gonna bring that to your kid, Aya. If
Mm.
without you, he's just gonna be like a friggin' Wakaranai.
Right.
Then he's
Right.
not gonna,
Right.
he's not gonna speak any
No,
English.
man.
He's not gonna speak any
No.
English, right?
Can't deal with that. No.
You can't
Can't deal
have
with
that,
that.
man. You can't have
No.
that. But that's
No.
where it's heading. If you don't like pull the reins in right now and like do it hard.
Mm. Okay. Okay, man. There's there is this fear in me of pushing my wife
No,
too
you're not
hard.
blood clot. Because it's the thing with Japanese culture is like they are very yasashi. They do things very kind. Like, hey, honey John, can you not right? It's like you have them when they deal with like kids, like tell the big kids, turn off the TV now. Like 500 times to tell the kid, like turn off the TV. I'm like sitting there. I'm sitting there watching that interaction, like,
How long is this going to go on?
brethren.
Right.
So you have to get in there as the assertive Jamaican American that you are and say, yo,
Mm, mm,
this is what's going to happen because
mm,
I'm sorry, you don't know any better. I'm just going to be an asshole here. Well,
mm,
you
mm,
know, for the record, nice and decent people, I'm an asshole, and my wife knows it too. No, you're gonna do this. This is what you're gonna do because I'm not gonna stoop down to your level. I've lived in 3 countries. I speak 3 languages. I'm educated. I purposely, willfully, intentionally educated myself. I've made myself go to college. So I'm not gonna come here and adopt your primitive, underdeveloped mindset. No, you're gonna have to come
mm,
up to me. And I
mm,
know that this child doesn't need this bullshit. We did not come
mm,
here to Japan to like be
mm,
separated. I might as well
mm.
just go back to Atlanta.
Right, right, right. But, picking up from that, man, it is shameful, but listen, this is a platform to be transparent. It's shameful on my part, but I'm afraid of her saying, "Go on then."
No, 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 no. She's not gonna say that. And if she says that, you're gonna be like, no, you can't
Mm,
make that decision. You're gonna ask her,
mm,
is that the best decision for our son, for our
mm,
kid? You think my going to Atlanta, how would our son feel?
Mm. You know, listening to you talk, man, you are shifting, you are working on, I feel you are working on shifting my perspective away from my relationship with my wife to this little picnic where the two of we make.
Absolutely. That's the only way that'll work, my youth. That's the only way it can work. It's the only way it can work. It's not about us anymore. It's not about,
Mhm.
because once you shift the focus to the youth, if you're intent on making everything positive for the youth, inadvertently it will become positive for you and wifey.
That makes sense.
That is
That
what I've
makes sense.
experienced. That's
Hmm.
what I've experienced, right?
Hmm.
So, all of a sudden I'm a nice person. I'm like a nice husband and shit. I'm like, I didn't want to be a nice husband. I didn't
Right,
set out to
right,
be, but because of the fact
right.
that I'm committed to being a good father to this child, I
Hmm.
inadvertently become a good husband to my wife.
Wow. Wow.
And the shit is like not, it's really hard to do. It's not easy.
Hmm.
But once you get it, I'm in now. I can do it in my sleep now.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
it's hard in the beginning. It's hard. But once you get it, it's just
Hmm.
on it's on autopilot.
And then the next thing is, the two of us being the same age, it's an age thing. When I lived in Japan the first time, brethren, my first marriage collapsed and imploded basically as a result, also because of the cultural differences. But
Yeah.
basically, and I realized this in retrospect, hindsight is 2020. I realized I just was not willing to give up my definition of manhood,
Yeah.
husbandhood,
Yeah.
and macho-ness. I am in charge and I will not change no matter what. And I wasn't willing to be flexible. My goals, my self-identity, these things were important to me. And this was 15 years ago. 15 years later, today, as a middle-aged, almost 60-year-old man, I realize I've come to the conclusion that, being softer, kinder, gentler,
It's
more
not that
giving, more
bad.
willing.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's okay.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
okay
It,
not to be an
it
asshole.
it isn't a subtraction from your
Yes. Yeah.
manhood. It is an
Yeah.
addition to
Yeah.
your manhood.
Yeah. Yeah. Fortunately for me, I had a role model. I have this family in California that, I think I wrote about that in my book where they had kind of adopted me when I was like 20, you know, invited me to their house. Be great to and great back man, 20-year-old man invite me house with his wife and two young
And
kids.
not that this matters, but maybe it does. Were they a white family?
They were a white family. Yes, yes. They were my white
And
family.
and tell me why what differences did you notice in this in the dynamics between these family members, these white family members that you can talk about in opposition to black families?
Okay,
Were there any
absolutely. The most salient thing I observed was the wife is taller than the husband, and the wife
Okay,
was more dominant than the husband.
okay.
But the dude was totally okay with that. He was like, fuck it.
Wow.
She does her, and that's it. That's how she is. And he wasn't offended by any of that. I was like, motherfucker, you gonna let her talk to you like that? But he didn't. She wasn't disrespecting him. She
Right,
didn't.
right. She wore the pants in the
Yeah,
family,
yeah. But she didn't.
undeniably.
She didn't talk down to him. Maybe she might have some sly remarks or something. But all those sly remarks, they just rolled off his back. And at that time, at 20 years old, I started observing that. And I was like, wow, you don't really have to fight about everything. And they got
Wow,
along like
interesting.
really well. And they hug up each other and kiss up each other one another. And they went out and with the kids, and I kind of helped them to raise the kids. And so I was like, yo, you don't have to be like on all the time. Like, what, bitch? What the fuck did you say to me?
And
What?
and it's so embarrassing, man, but you are describing me. You are describing me. Every little thing, every little instance where I feel even the slightest bit disrespected or something, I feel like, yo, who are you talking to? Why are you talking to me like that? You know, what wrong with you? What do you want the box? You know, I feel like, but it's not, you know, I'm realizing, yo, that's Trevor, that's why you are living in this apartment by yourself a mile up the street from your wife and son. Part of the reason is because you know, you were not, you were brittle, you know, brittle,
Yeah.
as opposed to flexible, malleable, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
emotionally, like I, you know, it's funny, you know, it's ironic. I started out this conversation by saying my wife is emotionally unavailable, but the truth is, you know, I was also emotionally unavailable. Like
Right,
it
right,
was
right,
me
right.
having this big barrier up between, I guess, my core vulnerable self and this man that I feel I'm supposed to be. You know, both of us, well, you know, my dad was in my life my whole life, and my dad was the prototypical rude boy. You know, every other word is a cuss. You know, never really soft, gentle, just everything was this display of like hyper toxic
Yeah, 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 yeah.
masculinity.
That's our
And I
culture.
have it buried within me.
That's our culture. And my dad, the few months that I stayed with him, 3 months, he was toxic like that too. But you know, that's not really conducive to being a good father.
Of course not.
So you have to like,
Of course not. I grew up until I was 16 or 17 with this hatred for my dad.
yeah,
And I don't want my son to hate me in any
right,
way.
right.
And I thought when I was growing up, until recently, bro, I thought this hatred was normal. Oh, all little boys hate their dad. If their dad is mean and angry and ornery and you know vex about everything all the time, that's normal. But no, it's not.
Yeah. So that's something that you're gonna have to work on, and you know, just choose your battles. Do you remember I told you
Mm-hmm.
about the bird, the bee and the fly?
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta be like the bee, man. You gotta fly over that football field of shit just to get to that one flower. You just gotta be like the bee.
Mm-hmm.
And when I observed this family, I was like, you know, they're still married. They've been married hundreds of years. You know, I still communicate with them regularly. They're my kids' grandparents. Uh, and it was an epiphany. It's like, okay, so you don't really have to like fly off the handle all the time. It's okay. It doesn't mean she loves you less, or it doesn't mean she doesn't respect you. That's just her personality. And if you're secure within yourself, you know, like, yo, I'm I'm secure. I don't have to like bend to that shit. And then that's
You
gonna
know,
help you to
it's
be a better parent, and that's gonna help you to be a better husband.
it's interesting, man. You know, there is this trope, this general idea that, and this relates very much to our conversation. There's this general idea that children need their fathers, especially little boys need their fathers. But the fact that you didn't have your dad, this toxic man for the entirety of your life, and you were able to sort of fashion your own identity as a result of the lack of this toxic man
Right.
has served you well. Whereas a guy like me, my dad was in my life until the day he died, till I was 25 or so. But that means I had all that time sort of looking
Absorb.
up to this. Exactly.
Yeah. And when
Exactly.
I was a kid growing up and I saw dads in Jamaica, I thought I was lucky, even though I was aching, I was hurting inside because I didn't have a father. I thought, fuck, it's a good thing I don't have a father because all they do is just
Wow.
beat the shit out of everybody. And they beat their
Wow.
kids. And like you know, I see them at school, coming to school, beating them. I'm like, oh shit, I'm glad I don't have a father. I'm good. I'm okay. But I didn't understand the emotional damage and the psychological damage that it would have or that it was having on me at the time. But I looked at fathers as nothing but, you know, ass beaters. They kick your ass. And I was glad I didn't have that. I was glad I didn't have a father. But
And that's what I had a lifetime of: ass beating, ass kicking, I told you before, my dad, from when I was 4 or 5 years old, my dad's almost nickname for me was Whatless. That was basically Whatless, which of course, as you know, means worthless. You're a 5-year-old kid, and because you don't know what a 5/8 inch socket wrench is, you are whatless and you're 5. You're in the tool room. You gotta find what is it? I don't know what it is. And then you come out, you come out holding a wrench or something, and your dad is like, "You whatless little boy? You whatless see? Like, come on, bro. I don't know what And I grew up feeling that, man. I grew up feeling like, I guess I'm worthless. And I don't, number one, I don't want my son to ever think, why isn't daddy here? I don't want him
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah,
ever
yeah,
have that
yeah.
that thought. And obviously I don't want to ever, give him the idea that he's worthless. I want to be around him to nurture him and
Right.
brethren, do what you are doing.
Well, you're
That's
gonna
what
have to
I'm
talk to
doing.
the wife, Aya. You're gonna have to like, if you need my help, I'm here. But you're gonna have to instill in her the importance of the child, the psyche. Japanese people don't really understand. You, you're gonna have to understand. It's gonna have to be like a. They don't really get it because I mean their perspective. They're informed by culture. Culturally speaking, this is what we've done for generations and generations. And it's been totally okay for the father not to be here because the father doesn't make money and he just works 16 hours a day, 17 hours a day. And when him come home on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the people in them don't know him. The kids don't know him. They don't know who the hell he is. The dog bite him because the dog has no idea who this this dude is in the house, etc., etc. You hear that shit all the time. The dog is like, "Hey, roof, 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 when the hell are you gonna get out? Who's this stranger?" Right?
and, and it's his dog.
And it's his dog. He bought the dog.
No.
That's what happens in Japan. And you have to like explain to her that you don't want that to happen to your child. And not your as in you're the individual, but you're as a couple's child. It's our child. We don't want this to happen, right? And you're gonna need to like be the bridge between Japan and the outside world because you're the foreigner. You're gonna have to like teach him these values,
Right.
confidence.
Right.
You have to like
Right.
go ramp with him rough and make him skin pupalik and jump up and down, and like, you're gonna have to be there to give him the
Right.
confidence. Because I mean, you remember Japanese people, their Japanese parents, the first thing that come out of their mouth with their kids is abunai. Everything,
Have a night. Yeah. Everything.
everything,
Everything.
everything.
Yeah.
There is nothing that is not abunai for a child in Japan.
Yeah. And my wife is doing that right now with my
Yeah,
son. Every little thing with a boy, reach out for touch. Abinai. Abinai
everything,
dial.
everything, everything, everything,
Yes.
everything.
Yeah.
You are going to be, interceding on his behalf. He knows that not everything is Abonai. And if the shit is Abonai and dangerous, daddy's going to be with him. That's what I do with my kid.
Right.
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 Right. I mean,
Right.
no, I don't, I never
Right.
told her anything. I never tell her anything is dangerous. Right. And well, yeah, sometimes I do, but I'm like, look, I'm going to be there with you. So it's dangerous if you went by yourself, but because daddy's here, yeah, you can walk on that high wall and I'm going to hold your hand. And if you're falling off, I'm going to catch you. Right.
Bro, what you are saying is huge, man. It harkens back to what you said earlier. If these little children are being told everything is Abinai, it instills in them a fear
Fear
of
of everything.
everything.
Yeah.
And that fear manifests as not just shyness, brethren, but like like uh uh like a disease of
Yes. A
shyness.
pathology.
Yes.
Yeah. It becomes a pathology. People don't really understand this. Well, when you look at how Japanese parents, it's the mothers, right? Because dads are not around. Everything, Trev, everything. Mrs. See them in the park. I see them in the park, and I'm like, really? It's Abinai to hold on to that rail? He's
Mm,
holding onto the
mm,
rail. What the fuck?
mm.
What's gonna happen? Just he's gonna walk?
Really? It's Abunai to hold on to the rail? That's what the rail is for, ma'am. Wow. Wow.
All right, man. Yeah, yeah. It's you got some work cut out for you. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well, every day in my mind, I'm thinking, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do?
we gotta
Okay, this
talk.
is important.
We
What
gotta
should
just
I do? But then at the same time, there's another part of my mind that says, Trevor, you know, pull back, lay back, pull off.
don't take that approach. For the
Okay,
kid's sake, don't take that approach. Yeah, and tell her
okay,
that you're taking the approach you're taking because you're not thinking about you guys. You're thinking about the child. We're doing this for the child. So we gotta talk. We have to communicate. We have to resolve this for the child because this is not the best dynamic for our child that you decided that you wanted to have this child. You
right,
knew that the shit was gonna take like two people to raise this child.
right,
We
right,
decided to go back to Japan for this child, and
right,
this is not optimal. This is not well. We know if this was the plan in the beginning, I would have been like, no, bye, see you.
right,
Let's get the fuck
right,
out of here. Get a
right,
divorce. You know. So
right,
you gotta, and it's gonna take work. But tell her, you willing to change, and yeah, you admit some of your problems and some of your faults, but it's all gonna have to be for the kid. Yeah,
Brethren, big up
yeah,
yourself, big up yourself. Thank you, man.
yeah, 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 yeah. I don't know, what do we got? We got like, dude, we gotta remind these people to subscribe to
Subscribe to
JPP.
JPP, people. Subscribe to JPP. Two Black Jamaicans living in Japan.
Right,
We both
right,
have close to 40 years experience in Japan
yeah,
together. We
yeah,
both have books
right.
that we have written about our experience in Japan. Steph, big up your book. Big up your book.
Everybody knows it. The Black Passenger Yellow Cabs. Been out what 2009, 2008, and
Black Passenger Yellow Cabs. My book is called The Eternal Outsider, 10 Years Black in Japan. But this is not a platform where we are, the books are
right. It's not about the
not
book.
even secondary, not even third, not
Yeah,
even fourth. We
right,
just
right,
happened to write these books.
right.
But we decided to do this podcast, video, YouTube series just to discuss what it is like on the ground. Both of us live in Japan. I'm living in
Right.
Yokosuka. You're living in Kyoto.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm in Kobe.
you're in Kobe.
Yeah.
Sorry. To talk
Actually, I'm
about
in
what.
Takarazuka, which is between Kobe and Osaka.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. To talk about what life is really like being in Japan as Black men with families, with children, working hard, trying to make something of ourselves in our 50s, man. We're not children, not children. Like
Right.
experienced, mature men talking about what it really is. Not the glamour, not Roppongi or any of that.
Shinjuku.
Yeah, just what it really is
Yeah, yeah. The
in
everyday grind,
Japan. Yeah,
So
yeah. So we try to do these things weekly. JPP, tell a friend. Um, um, we try to do these things weekly. Sometimes we miss, like we missed last week, but that's okay. We're doing one today. And maybe if you have something that you want us to talk about, send us a comment. What would
yeah,
you
yeah,
like to
yeah,
hear about?
yeah, yeah. Otherwise, put your comments down below. We'll be glad to hear from you. And maybe I should give you a tour of my neighborhood, man, because I'm outside, as you can hear.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
I don't know. Can you see? I'm just turning the
Yes.
laptop
Yeah. Yeah.
around.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a river over there. That's the Nigawa. The Nigawa. All right.
And gawa in Japanese is river.
And I think the knee is like two rivers meet. Right?
Okay. Okay.
That's it's a good environment for the kid. We go playing in the river all the time. We go playing in the riverbed when it rains and the river come down.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
but yeah, we're gonna definitely come back next week. We don't know what the topic is gonna be next week, but it'll be something interesting.
All right, brethren.
Yeah. So peace out, subscribe,
Big up yourself.
and we'll see you next week. All right.
JPP.
Respect.
Yeah. Yeah.